So I have sort of been putting off playing any more games just for a hot second. If you have been watching the Pokemon Nuzlocke, you probably noticed that it's a little bit jittery. Maybe you noticed that. That's just due to the fact that I have a very nice computer, but it's also a very old computer. Well, very old. It's old. It's not super old, but how old is it? Maybe going on 5 years. Not the oldest computer. When I got it, it was a very nice computer that was uh, very much not an old computer. Uh, Brand new-ish, I guess. It was a new computer, but it was, when I say brand new, I mean it had just come out when I bought it. So yeah, going on 5 years, and it's been good. I got it so that I could do YouTube related things, but due to just regular life circumstance, I pursue that, couldn't pursue this at that time. So here I am, all these years later. I have the right computer, but um, the computer just doesn't really want to cooperate. So I have a tough choice to make, and that's, do I want to go on uh, doing games that are on par with Pokemon Red, very low quality, dinky games, because I can use the capture card to capture games that are more not Pokemon Red. But if I do that, every so often there will be little jitters here and there in the game, where like a second will be out of focus, and I mean that's not the biggest problem, but it's not great if you're watching or listening to something and then it just sort of cuts out for a hot second. So I've sort of been holding off doing that. Um, I'm in the middle of getting a computer that can handle literally Minesweeper and forward, whereas this computer can't really. Um, when I get that computer, I'll start doing actual, real gameplay and not what I'm about to show you. And you're probably watching up to this point simply just to see if I'm going to explain why there's so much blue on the screen. Um, so this video is just an update video. I don't really have much to say. I could make some more Pokemon, but uh, my heart's not really in it at the moment. I'll record some more tomorrow, and you guys won't see this for another 2 days. No, you'll see this today. You won't see any more Pokemon for another 2 days at least. When would that be? That would be Friday-ish. Today's Wednesday. You'll see this video today on Wednesday, and if you're watching this in the future, don't worry about it. Uh, but I thought, why make an update video where I explain my circumstance without having anything at all to show for it? So here's the deal. I'm going to throw the mouse on screen for a second. There it is. So, we'll start with this one. So all of these pictures I'm about to show you are all wallpapers that I've made at some point over the past 5 years using this computer. Start with this one. I have no idea what it says. I could guess and say it's in Japanese. That background in the back, past the guitar and all the writing, you could probably recognize that if you've ever visited my Twitch channel. Probably not likely. It is linked in the description if you want to check it out. Um, that's that background is a background that I have. Actually, that is that my YouTube header? No. My Twitch header is something else. My Twitch header is something much different. This is my YouTube header. So you definitely have seen this one. Not with the guitar, obviously, but I just sort of felt inspired in the moment just to make something that was sort of like that popped. You know how very often that happens in Japanese art. They'll really have just a lot of pop. It'll catch your eye very quickly. Again, I don't know what it says or what it's supposed to say. Would have been wise for me to name it something that made sense so that I could understand what it says, but no. What did I name it? 10 twos in a row and 3. .png. You hate to see it. Back to this one. So I had these wallpapers, and actually I'm going to throw the mouse on screen again for a second to show you this. So see this, I'm going to trace it right here, right down in the middle, and over to here. So this right here is its own wallpaper. And this right here, exact same wallpaper. So it's right here, here, and here. Except right here and here, it's flipped and reversed. I believe. Yes. And it's some sort of painting of the ocean, I guess. So it's what I did was I made the wallpaper right here, and then I took it and flipped it over here. This right in the middle is some sort of blue sky piece that I just sort of was like, well, it sort of matches. I'll just throw it in the middle. It doesn't look good, but there is something appealing about it. It's just a lot of blue. If you're interested in blue, as I was, I named this one Blue Water. It's designed to go over 2 screens, so it serves this purpose. Next on the list, this one. This is a little bit difficult to explain, so I won't. Suffice to say, the base for this was a helmet that's black and yellow. So the blue is the yellow and the white is the black, obviously. The helmet, I'll explain that later because I do have the base as a wallpaper coming up. The helmet just really popped, and I did a bunch of stuff to it, and this is back when I was just really screwing around with all that you could use in Photoshop, and I was just inverting everything. You can see all the noise and the granulation. It's all over the screen. This is probably destroying YouTube right now. So I'm going to pop to the next one. But keep a peeper out for the next one because it's exactly the same. Except I probably have a good idea of what this is supposed to say. So that helmet is from an anime, and that anime is called Do Ra Ra Ra. Don't ask me what that means. But I like the helmet, and so I found that picture and realized that it was the right size and popped it on a wallpaper and then inverted it and granulated it and did all sorts of stuff to it, cleaned it up, and I made this. I figured out how to do this where I just sort of like dragged it off and then repeated it. So as I repeated it off screen, it like came in again off the side of the screen. It's a little bit difficult to explain, but you all Photoshop dogs will know what I'm talking about. And the next one, these aren't my creation, but I'll throw the mouse on screen for a second. Top left right here, you'll see these 4 right here. I literally just copied these and did it right here. And then I uh, outlined these two, and then I copied them down like this, outlined those, copied those down like this, outlined that, and then just copied it over. And then I had a full deal going on. So, not much to say about that. It's just billboards from Jet Set Radio Future. I thought it looks cool. It's a little bit too bright to be used, but if you really want a wallpaper that pops, this is where you got it. Next on the list, we have that self-same guitar that I don't know what it says. Only difference is the background is black. So I'll just skip over this one. And this one, I made this background all by myself. A lot of the other backgrounds you'll see had an element that wasn't mine, or I took from something else and then altered it to make whatever was left over, whatever I left on. This, however, I made completely just using the tools that I had. I don't remember how I did it. I was just screwing around in Photoshop, and I made it. It doesn't look fantastic. It's not super sharp. But I like it. And, I mean, obviously I like it. I put it as the YouTube banner. So, yeah, it's just, there's no story to it really. I saw it, it happened, I thought it looked cool, and I kept it. But, yeah, you saw in the very first one with the guitar, I kept it for that as well. The next one, this is the one that I actually have used in the past as a wallpaper, because it's bright and it's dark. It works so well for a wallpaper, and I love it. That helmet you saw in the back couple, it's that without the granulation. It's the helmet inverted, and we're actually coming up to the helmet that is the base. But that's all it really is. It's just the helmet inverted. But it looks so nice. It pops very nicely and it's very what's the word? Iconic? I have no idea. I just like the way it looks. Okay, so this is cool, right? There's one that I made of this where I just copied the eyes like a bajillion times. But I just sort of was like, Naruto's a thing, right? What if there were just like two eyes, one on either screen? And so I made it, and then I threw it in a folder and never pulled it out again. And here it is. Yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to linger on this one. It's very granulated, and I did some coloring and sharpening on it. And here's the base, very bright. So I found this online. This was a helmet from the anime Durarara. I saw it. I thought it was really cool, and I saw the picture was the perfect size for a wallpaper. So I kept it. And I threw it in Photoshop and made a whole bunch of stuff with it, and kept maybe 3 or 4 drafts, and you've seen most of them. But yeah, this is the helmet. It's just a very neat helmet. It has ears on it. Other than that, it's just a helmet. But it looks really nice when you invert it, which I did. You invert it, you sharpen it just a little bit, just to the touch. You do all that coloring stuff before you invert it, of course, and then it just pops really nicely. So that's that. It's from an anime. I liked the anime. I like this. And I made a bunch of wallpapers that you saw. So the next one, this is another one that I almost made all by myself. Almost. I took just a picture of Hugh Jackman and just huge Ackman, and I just deleted his exposure and freaking popped him, and then I used stroke tool and outline and whatever and made the black and the blue. I remember at the time I didn't know if I wanted to use the black and blue, to use the blue on the black, but I did. Um, I still like it. I think the only reason I don't use this one is because I recently cleared my computer and I saved everything somewhere else, and that's the only reason I haven't used it up till now. But yeah, I'd still use this one. I think it's cool. I like the way on the border, you probably can't see it that well, mouse on screen, but on the border right here, it's really smooth, and that's just because I used the stroke tool on the entire picture and brought it in, and it made it so that there's just a smooth, flat line right next to all this fuzziness that goes all in the letters and everywhere. I thought that was neat. So you're probably wondering, what about all that yellow? Like, why not just have all black lettering? Yeah, I thought of that too. So that's what I did. I only added the yellow afterwards. You'll notice, going back to the yellow one, you'll notice that the yellow leaks out. That's because I just used the little paint bucket tool to drop it into those letters. So yeah, this one's the cleaner version, the nicer one, I guess. And then I got one that's just absurd. Check this out. Are your eyes dead? So there's no story here. I'm just gonna go to the next one. So this one I like because it looks cool. But again, I don't really want to use it just because I don't know what it says. At the time, I guess at the time I knew what it said, but I don't anymore. It looks cool though. This is another one of those ones that I made completely on my own. No, this is another one of those ones that I almost made completely on my own. I took that meteor and I inverted it. I did a bunch of color stuff to it, and then I inverted it so it turned blue. Then I took the heart and cleaned that up and sharpened it or whatever, and placed it in space, I guess. I didn't make the space background, I didn't make the meteor, and I didn't make the heart, but they were all free assets, I think. And then there's this one. This one I did make completely on my own. I know, wild. I'm just a brilliant artist at this point. The only thing I regret about this one is that I didn't want to add shadows underneath the shapes. That, or I didn't know I could. But if I could go back and fix this up, what I would do is I would add shadows underneath these swirls that are right in the front, mouse on screen. These swirls right here, I'd add shadows underneath them going down like this, just to show you that there's some depth to this. I think I played around with it and then I didn't, because I really thought it looked nice just flat. But yeah, what I did is I just took the background, chose a color. It took me a long time to choose a color. I'm pretty sure I used the paint tool and just kept changing it up over time. It's one of those things where you look back on it, and if you looked for long enough, you'd probably find a mistake. I'm not seeing any, but I'm sure you guys can if you're that determined to. I don't know what it says. I guess you could say I took from the Japanese language to make it. But other than that, I used the shape tool. I used the these big blocks of color that are the shapes are all around. I used the shape tool and just made big blocks and stretched them out. Used the stroke tool on them and there you go. It's really neat. You can make something just like this. I haven't made something like this since. Um, I think I made this and I was like, yeah, I peaked with this one. I'm not gonna make something like this better than this. So that's that. Um, that is actually the last one. I'm just gonna scroll through them quickly. Uh, well, there we go. We'll end on this one just because it's a very nice color. Thank you so much for watching this. If you enjoyed it, I really enjoy messing around in Photoshop and making things that look neat. I especially enjoy wallpapers because it's like I'm pretty sure people pull from wallpapers to get theirs. They don't make their own, and I think that's a shame because you have so many free assets that you can choose from, like that helmet, which is obviously uh, from something, but that helmet specifically you can throw into a Photoshop or Photoshop like service and just do all sorts of cool stuff with it. Or like Hugh Jackman, just the biggest of Ackmans. You can take a simple PNG, drop it on a background, turn that background red, add some noise, throw some letters on top of that, use a paint bucket in some of those letters to get yellow and black, which is reminiscent of his yellow and black and also blue that he had in the original series, which I think is why I used the blue. And then just throw a stroke on the outside. Yeah, real easy in Creative Town. Real easy. Thank you so much for watching. Expect more Pokemon in a day or two. Also expect real gameplay in longer than that, an indeterminate amount of time. I just wanted to say this just because I did get one comment that said do more games that have more story, and I absolutely agree. And I have a whole bunch of games lined up that I wanted to play, but I've tried recording them and my computer almost literally like yelled in my face and said don't do this. So I didn't do that. I tried and I failed. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. As always, I'll catch you on the flip side.